Well, the FBI's Christopher Wray is saying that Hamas could inspire U.S. attacks on U.S. soil. And one of the questions I've been getting as a result of that news alert that went out on the 31st of October on Tuesday is, Jay, what would the impact be to the stock market if, in fact, the U.S. was attacked on U.S. soil? Well, sadly, we have a reference for that kind of a question, and it's one that we really don't like to consider, but I'm never one that dodges away from a question, so I'll answer it the best that I can. We know what happened after the attacks of 9/11. We were attacked on U.S. soil, and as a result, the stock market on that Tuesday never opened up at 9:30. There was pre-market trading that was going on that day as the attacks were taking place, but when the opening bell was set to sound at 9:30 that day, the market remained silent. And it was for the next 5 days that or the next 4 days, the market was closed. And it wasn't until Monday of the next week that we were able to see the stock market open back up. The market at that point in time was in an absolute swoon. Investors, not knowing what the future held, scared that the attacks that took place were the beginning of many that were going to happen. And this was going to be our new way of life. And as a result, the uncertainty just grabbed investors in such a way that they sold, the market dropped. But once that panic subsided, and once we started to feel slightly better, and it took some time, about the state of our country, the security that was taking place, and all that was being done, the market started edging its way back up. But even a year after the attacks, the market was down almost 20%. Now, that was a one-time attack, and thank God for all the men and women that have worked hard behind the scenes to make sure that they've kept us safe, preventing any other type of attack from taking place here on U.S. soil of any significant nature. But if we have Hamas starting to do certain things in the United States where there are coordinated attacks around the country, you will see something similar with the stock market. I don't know if the market will be halted for any period of time. It might. But what you will see is a lot of selling, a lot of reduction in the value of our stocks as Wall Street comes to grasp with what could be the new norm for our country. Now, I certainly pray that's not the case. I certainly don't want that to happen. But we, as responsible individuals, have to be prepared if, in fact, that were to take place. And if it does, it means that the long-term buy, hold, and approach crowd could see their portfolios impacted significantly. Now, there's some stocks such as the oil and others that actually saw a corresponding increase as far as their prices. So there were some portfolios that went up, but the vast majority of them went down based on the types of securities that these investors were holding. And one of the reasons that I like the short-term approach of flipping stocks for quick profits is the fact that my money's not exposed to risk for any extended period of time. Today, we were using stocks for less than 20 minutes at a time as we were going after gains of 5 to 10%. We'll take those base hits all day long. Because if there was some sort of an attack that took place, the market would respond in such a way that we would still be able to trade. I mean, because it's just a matter of flipping stocks each day, regardless of what the market conditions would be. But the security that I have in myself, knowing that I can end the day free from any potential threat that might take place. And I'm not talking about just a terrorist attack. I'm talking about if I was holding a lot of transportation stocks and something happened to that sector where all of a sudden it was down 10 or 15% in a short period of time, and I'm looking at this prolonged period of time before they could respond. But I certainly think that it is advantageous for all of us to look at taking at least a portion, a small portion of our portfolio, and looking for ways that we can use the market in a short-term way. Because that way, in the event that anything happened to our stocks, a sector, or to our country, we're in a position that we can continue to try to see our portfolios grow and use the market as we can, given the conditions that are taking place at the time. But I can tell you that as we look forward to a lot of the unknowns with the growing national debt, the underfunded pensions, you have the Social Security ticking time bomb that nobody wants to touch, and a bunch of politicians on both sides of the aisle that are worthless as far as getting anything done. We don't need a terrorist attack for certain things to start impacting this economy. Only now is the national debt starting to get some serious conversation when they say that we're spending more money on the interest in a day than we're spending on national defense. Some people are starting to say, wow, that doesn't sound like a good thing. And it's not. And that's one of the reasons that those of us at Day Trade Fund are in a position that we're trying to continue to use the market as we are, because a lot of these coming financial storms are going to impact the market in significant ways. And as a result, we want to be ready. We want to make sure that we protect our money as best we can. We don't get any do-overs when it comes to financial decisions that we have. We have to make the best decisions based on the best data that we have before us. And looking at the future, there are a lot of uncertain times ahead. And that's one of the reasons I continue to encourage people on all of my radio and TV interviews across the country, is to learn how to use the stock market as a source of some revenue. It can be a small source, but look for ways to have that additional revenue stream, because that way, if the market does dip, you're in a position where you can continue seeing some revenue generated. And for a lot of people that are approaching retirement and in retirement, certainly having a revenue stream in addition to everything that you have is a sensible way to proceed.